Hi everyone, this is Brad from Board Game Geek. I'm here with Anton from Fantasy Flight Games, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Xcom board game, which we saw last night, which was really cool. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the app integration with the Xcom board game?
Sure. So Xcom, the board game, is a standard tabletop board game in many ways. There are decks of cards, there are dice that will be rolled, there's a board that has locations, and you have to actually manipulate bits on the board like you would. Except for us, this represents the first step into the digital integration for board games. And for us, what we want to do is present something new and exciting, that a board game experience that integrates technology in a way that it is not a gimmick, and it is also not a digital game. So there's a sweet spot. I mean, in Christian Peterson's address yesterday, the In-Flight Report, he described that somewhere in between those two extremes, there is a sweet spot, and that sweet spot will give us interesting technological integration with minimal need to track, an exhaustive list of details so that the app can respond, and have it still remain a tabletop board game, the experience that we know and love. We are a tabletop company, that's what we do, but we really want to push forward. This app is going to be available for free when the game is released, and that is on iOS and Android, PC and Mac, and even a web page. So we assume that covers a good, some good ground.
Even Linux, I guess, if you're using a web browser.
Yes, if you have a web browser, regardless of the OS, regardless of your platform, you are well served. But it's very novel, and it isn't just a timer. It isn't just a randomizer. I mean, what Eric Lang and the programmer in-house have done is really have a really exciting set of interactions that will arise out of interacting with the app and accomplishing the actions at the table. So there are things that this app can do that we could never reproduce in a reasonable way with cardboard tokens, dials, and dice. I mean, we would need, who knows, like thousands of cards, and cards that can change their value, and lots of complex decision trees. So
very cool. Yeah, I heard that there's a lot of things like, miscommunication and stuff that can happen in the game. There's not a card that says like the aliens are jamming your communication. Instead, just the app starts feeding you false information and that sort of thing.
So it's just quick example. The game happens in a timed round and then a resolution round that is untimed. The timed round is driven by the app. The central officer is going to press start round, and the timer immediately goes, and you are given an action. So one of the players is then instructed, like chief scientist, select a new technology, and they have to now, with the cards in front of them, they have drawn this hand of cards. They're going to have to commit to researching a particular tech. As you continue forward, the app will drive you forward. If you are effective and efficient with how you treat your choices, if you accomplish them quickly, you will accumulate time that you can then use in the future when everything's going crazy and you need to pause. It builds a buffer, so you're incentivized to act and think clearly. As you go and things start going wrong, the app is going to adjust. So if you're attempting to send fighter squadrons or invest in tech and they fail, the rest of the world may stop sending you funding. So one of the first things that you're instructed each round is how much international funding you have received for your efforts to save the world. And at first they're like, yes, take all our money, but if your efforts don't pay off, they will start to invest elsewhere other than the Xcom Defense Force. So your funding starts going dry. As countries start going into panic, that will change how they relate to the player. And this is all simply driven by the app behind the scenes. If communications fail, normally you may have some additional information as to over which continents UFOs may appear. First they appear in orbit, and you try and take care of that there, but inevitably they'll find some continent and hover and terrorize the inhabitants. That information may begin to be inaccurate based on whether or not your base is still in existence, whether or not you've been successful in achieving any missions, whether or not you've exhausted your funding, whether or not countries are in panic. And the experience is super tense. It's really hysterically fun, and everyone has a very unique view on the game. So it's a great mesh of tabletop and digital.
So in this process of getting the license and building this game based on this newly beloved and an oldly beloved video game license. Were you able to work with Firaxis and 2K kind of on your concepts and those sorts of ideas?
Well, as with almost all the licensors with whom we work, we are in. It is a supportive relationship, but we are very grateful and fortunate to work with partners who recognize that, hey, we are going to bring something to the table that we hope is unique and exciting, and it's going to be beautiful artwork. Firaxis and 2K have been phenomenal partners. I mean, we worked with Civilization, the board game, in the past, and they're incredibly excited. There are a lot of gamers there. We showed up, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you have no idea how many of your games we play." And we thought, "Don't you know who you are?"
Right.
Like it's easy to forget that we're just people that are passionate about these types of entertainment. So they have given us a lot of ability just to follow a vision and follow through, and of course we run that past them and we work with them as it takes shape to make sure that they agree that it's true to their vision of what Xcom represents, and the style of play, and the look and the feel and all of that.
Very cool. So last night we were talking about what our biggest surprises were at Chicken so far in our wrap-up show, and one of them was that Xcom has been said that it will be a 2014 release.
Yeah, that is our goal. Right now we are on target for 2014. We'll see it later this year. And I can't wait. I work here. I cannot wait to play. It's a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. We really look forward to this one.
Got it, man. Thanks, man.